All right, leaders, welcome. Today, we're going to sharpen a critical competency. Really, the one tool that separates good leaders from great ones, especially when the pressure's on: analytical thinking. So, let me just start with a question for you. Think about it. In a high-pressure moment, a real crunch time, do you react or do you respond? A reaction, it's all impulse, it's gut feeling. But a response? That's deliberate, that's power. And today, we're all about building the muscle for that powerful analytical response.
Okay, here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into the analytical leader's mindset. Then, we'll see exactly how it works with a real-world case study. After that, I'm going to give you some fantastic practical tools for your own toolkit. And finally, we'll talk about making this whole thing a lasting habit.
So let's start at the very beginning. We live in a world that is just drowning in data and noise. So what does it actually mean to be an analytical leader today? Let's get a clear definition.
Look, this is so much more than just being good with numbers or spreadsheets. Analytical thinking is a discipline. It's really the art of taking a chaotic, messy, complex problem and methodically breaking it down into its core parts, making it manageable. And the whole point? It's to cut through the noise, find real clarity, and make decisions that aren't just fast, but are actually right. And these are the building blocks. Look at how they connect. It all starts with framing the problem correctly. If you get that wrong, everything else is off. But get it right, and it guides how you interpret the data. And that, in turn, helps you spot the patterns. Those patterns? That's what you build your structured decision on. And all the while, you're constantly evaluating risks, prioritizing what truly matters, and this is so important, challenging your own assumptions.
Okay, so theory is one thing, but the real test is always in the trenches, right? Let's take these ideas and drop them into a situation that you could honestly find yourself in next week. Let's dive into a case study.
So imagine this. It's Tuesday afternoon. Your phone buzzes, and you see it's your top client. You pick up, and their voice is tense. The numbers on their biggest digital campaign, the one that's always been a winner, are suddenly tanking, and they're looking to you for answers. The pressure just went from 0 to 100. What do you do?
Now, the client's gut reaction is to just throw more money at it. We need to boost the budget, they say. A reactive leader, trying to calm the situation, might just agree. Okay, let's do it. But the analytical leader, they see this moment for what it is. It's not a time to react, it's a signal. It's a time to pause and diagnose. And right here, this is the pivot. This is the game-changing move. The analytical leader doesn't ask, okay, what do we do? Instead, they ask, why is this happening? That tiny one-word shift from what to why changes everything.
Think of it like this. The lower click-through rate, the decreased conversions, those are just the symptoms. That's the part of the iceberg you can see above the water. The real leadership work happens below the surface. We have to dig for the root cause. Did a competitor just launch something huge? Is our creative just old and tired? Or maybe a platform changed its algorithm and we got caught off guard. We have to investigate.
And here's how that methodical response plays out. Step 1, gather the actual data from all the channels. No guesswork. Step 2, look for patterns. And bingo, there it is. The performance drop is completely isolated to one specific platform. Step 3, form a hypothesis. The most likely culprit is a recent algorithm change on that platform. And step 4, validate and act. They don't just dump more money in. No, they pause the spending, stop the bleeding, and smartly reallocate that budget to test new creative on the platforms that are working. And the result of this thoughtful approach? It's a triple win. First, the new tests start showing success, turning the campaign around. Second, the client is completely reassured. They now have a clear strategic action plan. They see a partner, not just a panicked vendor. And third, the team avoids wasting a ton of budget and feels confident because they're following a logical plan. That is the real, tangible payoff of analytical leadership.
Okay, so we've seen the mindset, we've seen it in action. Now for the big question, how do you make this a consistent part of your leadership? Let's stock your toolkit with a few simple, powerful frameworks you can start using right away.
I'm going to walk you through 3 incredibly useful tools. And I'm serious, you can take these and apply them in your very next meeting to immediately start making more structured, deliberate decisions. First up is the 5 whys. It sounds almost too simple, but it is so effective. So your team comes to you and says, we missed the project deadline. Don't stop there. Ask why. They say, because the final report wasn't ready. Okay, why? Because we were waiting on the data. Why? Because the request wasn't submitted on time. And why was that? Well, because I didn't know about the new submission process. Boom. See? By the fifth why, you're not talking about a missed deadline anymore. You're talking about a training gap. That's the root cause. Next, the impact versus effort grid. This is your secret weapon for prioritization, honestly. Before your team or you commit to a new task, just mentally plot it on this grid. Is it high impact and low effort? That's a quick win. Do it now. High impact, high effort? That's a major project we need to plan. But if it falls in that low impact category, we need to question why we're doing it at all. This protects your team's most valuable asset, their focus.
And finally, remember, your brilliant analysis is only as good as your ability to communicate it. So use the SCQA framework. It helps you tell a clear, persuasive story. S, here's the situation, the context. C, here's the complication, the problem we're facing. Q, this raises a critical question for us. A, and here is my recommended answer. It's a narrative that takes stakeholders on a journey and gets them to buy into your conclusion.
All right, we've talked mindset, we've talked application, and we've got the tools. Now for the most important part of all, how do we weave this into our very leadership DNA so it becomes second nature? Let's talk about making it a habit. And you have to understand, this isn't just about being a better problem solver. It fundamentally transforms your impact as a leader. Your decision quality skyrockets. Your team feels a sense of psychological safety because your leadership is clear and logical, not erratic. And your clients? They see you as a true strategic partner. It literally changes how people experience your leadership.
So here's my challenge to you. Don't just let this be an interesting video. Let it be a catalyst for action. This week, I want you to pick one decision, just one. And before you act, force yourself to pause. Ask why. Try out one of the tools we just talked about. Because that single, conscious moment of deliberate analysis, that is the difference between simply reacting and truly leading. Now go lead.